Video on difference quotients. People struggle with these, and what is a difference quotient? Honestly, in pre-calculus class, we really just want you guys to play around with this a little bit because, first of all, it helps you practice with algebra, and secondly, it helps you get used to this idea of function notation. But the truth is, you don't really use these things until you get into calculus class, and that's where they become very important. So the hope is, if you're comfortable evaluating these things now, then when we get to calculus, we can just whip right over these things and you have no problem with them. Okay, so for the time being, let's just work on it. Here it is. It's just a fraction, f of x plus h minus f of x over h. That's all it is, a fraction. Now, the problem is we don't really know what is the f stand for. It means function, but what function? So we need to know what function we're talking about. And so let's check out and see, in this case, which function are we talking about? There it is. That's the function I want you guys to look at for this one. And it means basically f of x equals the x value squared minus 1. Okay, so if that's what f of x is, then now that that's given to us, we can automatically know what is f of x plus h. Okay, so if you're struggling with the function notation part of this, please head back. I've got another video specifically about function notation. And basically that's what it is. So instead of having an x inside the function, we now put in an x plus h. And then so we have x plus h squared minus 1 instead of x squared minus 1. Okay, so this is always the same. This is what a difference quotient is. But over here, the function may change depending on which one you're working with. Okay, so this could be different each time. Okay. So, first thing first, let's do a little simplification. Look over here, let's just take this f of x plus h, and let's see what happens. Okay, we expand this binomial, so it's x plus h times x plus h, and we end up with x squared plus xh plus xh plus h squared. So it's like using FOIL. Okay, you can pause the video right now and make sure you're okay with that part. And then don't forget the minus 1 is still there, the minus 1. Okay. Next step, I'm just going to remove those brackets and then combine these two like terms, xh. So that's what it is. Okay, so this is just a simplified version of this first line right here. So in other words, this is f of x plus h. Okay, let's carry on. Keep in mind, just keep pausing the video, absorbing the stuff, and then push play again. Okay, so now we want to take the difference quotient and just replace the things that we know. So here's f of x. So instead of writing down f of x right here, we just write down what is f of x. It's this thing right here, x squared minus 1. Okay, but the problem is we can't just, since we're subtracting the whole thing, we've got to put brackets around it or we're going to have a mistake. Okay, so we're subtracting that whole thing, x squared minus 1. Okay, and then on the other side of the subtraction symbol is f of x plus h. And here is f of x plus h. So let's just drag that thing over and put them in this spot. So you can see what we have. F of x plus h is this, and f of x is this. Okay, so far so good. And now it's really just a matter of algebra. Once you're to this point, we just got to simplify using algebra. So first thing we can do is get rid of those brackets. I'm going to flip the screen, but watch this symbol right here. It's no longer a minus 1. What does it become? Plus 1. Yeah, so we got rid of the brackets by multiplying that negative sign by the x squared and also by the negative 1. Okay, so from here on, we're kind of off to the races. Let's give me a pen here. Here, look at this. We've got a positive x squared and we've got a negative x squared. Cancel. We've got a negative 1 and we've got a positive 1. Cancel. And when you do these things, you're going to find that these things cancel all the time. It's really nice. A lot of things drop out quickly. Okay, so what's left is just this part right here, 2xh plus h squared. Okay, so I've kind of done some of the work for you already after that. So there's what we came up with. We had 2xh plus h squared. And from here you can see in the numerator that both terms have a common factor. And that common factor is the h. So let's factor it out, see what we get. There it is. So now that h is on the outside, we're left with 2x plus h. If you're not totally sure, again, double check. This numerator and this numerator are the same thing. If you multiply that h back in, then you'll come back to this one. Okay, but why do we do that? Because we kind of like for this h to cancel with this h. All right, and once that happens, bam, we have our answer. So that's what a difference quotient is like. Why is it useful? Well, you're going to find out in calculus that it becomes really useful when we start talking about derivatives. But for now, it's basically a matter of practicing your algebra, practicing your function notation, and just simplifying these things. Okay. I can't end this video without one last little note, which is just be careful. H actually cannot be equal to 0, so we should probably write that down. H, this is my weird little symbol saying cannot be equal to 0. Okay, so there you go. Hope that helps. See you later.